Welcome back. It is a big week ahead for the Republican tax reform effort and the markets as the House Senate Conference Committee begins meeting to iron out differences between their respective tax bills before they leave for the holiday winter break. We want to bring in Illinois Congressman Peter Rostam right now. He is a member of the House Senate Conference Committee on the GOP tax bill. And Congressman, it's good to see you on the program this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
Can you walk us through the
you.
status for us? Can you give us a status check in terms of what you need to iron out this coming week? What are the last remaining sticking points, sir?
So here's what we've got to figure out. We've got to come to some agreement on how both of these bills treat pass-through entities, that is, businesses that are treated, pay taxes at the individual rate. How do we deal with that? We've got to figure out how we deal on the international side in particular. There's been two visions of that. Both the House and the Senate have approached it differently. We've got to figure out how to give more middle-income tax relief, and everybody's working on that. And then we also have to figure out how do you reconcile things on the estate tax and bring the child tax credit into harmony. There's other things as well, but those are the top line efforts, and I'm confident that we're moving in a direction that can get that done.
Would you mind doing a corporate rate of 22% for both pass-throughs and corporate, rather than 20% corporate, 25% pass-throughs, which was what was initially in the House bill? Do you think we could get to a place where it's 22% on both?
Well, we passed the 20 and 25 for a reason, and the reason is corporations, C-corps, are double taxed. So they pay income tax and they also pay dividends when the money is taken out. So you're getting more or less business parity at 20 and 25. But that said, Maria, look, there's a lot of numbers that are in play right now, and there's a disposition among the conferees of trying to get to yes on these things, and I'm confident that we're going to be able to get that done.
Look, I recognize that the debt is a serious issue here, $20 trillion in debt, and the deficit is going to go up likely over the near term because this plan is costing $1.5 trillion. Maya McGinnis from the Committee on Responsible Budget says it could actually ultimately cost $2 trillion. So you're looking for different areas where to take money from to pay for this. I'm scratching my head wondering why carried interest was not touched. I understand this is not a lot of money, but why do you still have carried interest deduction in there, which allows some managers, hedge fund managers, private equity executives, to claim a 20% tax rate when, in fact, some people say that should go to the high rate at 39.6?
So I'll answer the carried interest question. Let me get to the debt question because there's a relationship. So first of all, we're borrowing money intentionally in the same way that you borrow to buy a house, you borrow to put it in your business, you borrow money to get something for it that's increasing in value. And here we're getting two things. Number one, we're getting a new tax code. We're just buying a brand new tax code, which is a terrific thing for all the obvious reasons. The other thing is we're buying a more robust economy. So I don't buy the notion that this is somehow going to cost $2 trillion, and we can get into sort of all the budget math. I think it's likely $1 trillion. So on carried interest, look, nobody's doing a candlelight vigil or a hunger strike for people at the very top end of the economic chain. But my point is we've got to be very careful that just blowing up carried interest, for example, can have an adverse impact on modest real estate deals out in my constituency in suburban Chicago, where you've got a developer and so forth that are coming together and trying to align interests. The name of the game we've chosen in this to lengthen the duration of the carry time. To your point earlier, it doesn't raise a lot of money if you abolish it. And what we're trying to do is to create growth and lean in and ultimately have an economy that can be transformational.
So what you're saying is those deals in real estate that could go away because they don't have the carried interest 20% rate, that's more important than the fact that you eliminate the state and local tax deduction, and you're going to see an exodus of people out of high tax states like New York. Don Peebles the other day on Mornings with Maria on the Fox Business Network told me he's expecting real estate prices to drop 10% in New York because of the exodus of people that are going to leave because they're losing that deduction. So that carried interest is more important than that then?
Look, I think the hyperbole and the overstatement and the overcharacterization about all these negative things that are purported to happen if we move forward on this is a hidden blessing, because those things are not going to happen. What is going to happen is this economy is going to grow in ways that we've not seen it a long time. I'm from a comparatively high tax state. If all you're doing is evaluating one deduction, that is state and local tax deduction, and not looking at anything else, then yeah, the criticism is valid.
Right.
But this has to be evaluated in its totality.
I agree.
Look at the rates. Look at what's happening in terms of child tax credit, the new family credit, and all of the other business things that are happening.
I'm glad you mentioned the family credit, Congressman, because I don't know. This is another head scratcher for me. You're spending $650 billion on a family credit, a family tax credit that goes to all families. So even a very rich family that doesn't need any more deductions, you're going to give them the family tax credit. Somebody who's of well means and on the high end gets the same tax credit that somebody on the low end gets?
So now everybody's arguing in the alternative, because on the one hand, there's a criticism that we're not doing enough, and on the other hand, there's a criticism that we're doing too much.
I'm just looking for money.
What we're trying to do is figure out, right. And what we're trying to do is figure out where do these things, where should they phase out, what's an appropriate level, and these are all the things, Maria, that the conference committee is dealing with. Adjusting these dials so that you create a tax code that people say, yeah, I have confidence in that. Yes, I want to invest in that.
So
yes, I'm getting tax relief that I need.
Are you going to put a cap on the family tax credit in terms of income?
Well, we'll see. I mean, these are all parts of the discussions that the conference committee is dealing with. So I'm not going to get ahead of the conferees. I'm not going to get ahead of my chairman. But there's a number of these issues that are obviously part of a discussion right now, trying to figure out how you ultimately put this together. Because I tell you what, we can't go back. The notion of saying, well, look, it's just too big, it's too complicated, and it's too much of a hassle, it's ridiculous. We've made a decision. Everybody's crossed a Rubicon, and we've said we've crossed over. We're going to get this done, and we are going to get this done.
All right, Congressman, we know you're working hard on this. We appreciate it, and we know we're going to see an impact on the economy. Good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
Peter Roskam joining us there. The Alabama Senate race, there's that story coming down to the wire. The race is on Tuesday. Polls are showing a dead heat between embattled Republican candidate Roy Moore and Doug Jones. How President Trump is stepping up into help. We're looking ahead right now on Sunday Morning Futures ahead of Tuesday's election. Back in a minute.